That is all for headlines now, and it is time to shift gears. Time now for that segment where John and I go deep under the hood for a detailed look at one of the big issues in the auto world. And this week, I'm excited about it. Toyota is showing photos of a new FCV fuel cell concept car. Hydrogen fuel cells. John, you're telling me they may actually put this thing on the market in a few years.
That's what they're saying. A few days ago, to back up, Toyota released these photos of this car called the FCV Concept. They're going to actually show the car itself at the Tokyo Motor Show next week. So we haven't actually seen anything other than the photos and some information. But they've said that this is a preview of a car that they plan to bring to market. They're a little vague about the time frame, but 2015, 2016-ish. There are a few folks who think this could actually end up being the next Prius, though it's likely to be pretty expensive, at least at first, because it's a fuel cell car. That's an electric car that is powered by a device called a fuel cell that takes hydrogen gas and it oxidizes it, and that process makes electricity. The only thing that's emitted is water or water vapor, so this is a really clean process. Fuel cells are old technology, actually. They've been around for a long time, but lately we've seen more and more automakers gearing up to try to bring fuel cell cars to market. We know that Honda and Hyundai and Mercedes and Ford and Nissan and GM and some others are all either working on fuel cells or actually making fuel cell vehicles in tiny quantities. Honda has one they sell in California. I understand it's almost sold in the dozens at this point. They're really expensive, but some big investments are being made to make this more of a mass market technology. And, I think what's moving that is the frustration that a lot of automakers are having with the lithium-ion battery packs they use in battery electric cars. They're heavy and they're expensive. A few years ago, they were heavy and expensive, and experts were saying, yeah, they'll get lighter and cheaper over the next few years. But the technology hasn't advanced as fast as everybody hoped. Tesla, for one, has managed to make it work, but the Tesla Model S is heavy and expensive. That's why Tesla designed and built it as this big luxury car. That was the way to make the numbers work, to get the price they needed, and to make the design work. It needs to be a big luxury car. But you want a little $30,000 car with reasonable range. You can't really get there with batteries right now. Cars like the Nissan Leaf, 100 miles is about what you'll get. You can't get there with fuel cells right now either in terms of price, but the hope is that if they start to catch on, the costs will get down to that level within a few years.
I do. I love this delicious coming together, this tension where Tesla's Elon Musk, of course, said just a couple of weeks ago, fuel cells is nothing but marketing. It's not really going to happen. And now here Toyota is releasing photos of this. This is getting interesting.
Well, to some extent, everybody, Tesla has bet the house, right? They're a little company. They've got one product. Everybody else here is kind of, you might say fishing, you might say hedging their bets a little. The good news with a fuel cell car is that they're electric cars. They have the advantages of electric cars, but you don't have to plug them in and recharge them. The bad news is you have to put gas in them, hydrogen gas, and there aren't too many places you can buy that right now. But, hydrogen can be made easily from natural gas, something we seem to have come up with a whole lot of lately, and it can even be made from water. There's a device that's sort of a reverse fuel cell that splits the water to create hydrogen and oxygen. And I've heard some talk about commercializing those devices, and the idea is you install one in a gas station, plug the water line into it, plug it into the electrical line, and it'll make hydrogen gas and fuel cell cars. But, that's in the future. And right now we don't really have the infrastructure for hydrogen fuel cell cars. It's kind of even thinner than what we have for plug-in electric cars. At least there are, some cities have parking garages that have some charging facilities. Tesla's building out its network of superchargers and so forth. But to get back to the fishing thing, I think the fuel cell thing is just one more way in which automakers are kind of testing the waters on these alternative technologies. There are tough new fuel coming. Everybody knows that. There are big incentives for cars, not just in the U.S., but in a lot of other places, big incentives for cars that don't use gasoline or use only a little gasoline. So we've got battery electrics, we've got fuel cells, we've got plug-in hybrids, we've got the clean diesels, and we've even got conventional gasoline engines with advanced turbochargers like the EcoBoost in that Lincoln we talked about earlier. Things like that. The big automakers are all putting at least some effort into several of these different options, and they'll probably keep that up until one of these sort of gets the market momentum going forward.